It's time to go beyond time, not plus ultra, because that's a different series. Welcome to another review of Thunderbolt Fantasy. I know I say this almost every week, but this episode was really good. A bit of a slower, dialogue heavy episode, but it had some really good character building moments. And those were awesome. And to repeat myself again, Orobuchi is a great writer. This series is amazing. Okay, so we pick up the episode with Shang, who is in the presence of the swordsmiths. And they're all like, "Who are you? How the hell did you sneak in here?" But a man by the name of Bai Leon sends them away. Shang is surprised that such seemingly normal people are crafting the holy swords that will one day become the Index, since the legends state that the servants of the gods were the ones that did it. Bai Leon said that he and his people were sent to Wan Yu through a dimensional rift. One day, when he woke up, he was in a land unfamiliar to him. And that in this new realm, his normal swords had tremendous demon-slaying power. And also, due to the other dimensional energy that is within his estate, any swords crafted there will also have the same demon-slaying power. Because he got sent through an interdimensional rift, Bai Leon really isn't surprised that it happened to Shang too. But really for Shang, it was more of a time rift. Now with all this talk about interdimensional travel, it made me really curious who Bai Leon is. Supposedly, from what I read on the Thunderbolt Fantasy subreddit, he is a reoccurring main protagonist in the Peely series, which is the original Taiwanese version of Thunderbolt Fantasy. The one that Gen Orobuchi got inspiration from. I know War of the Dragons is on Netflix, and I will be watching it after this season is done. I most likely won't be reviewing them though. Just gonna watch it to see what the original is like. But anyway, Bai Leon is probably a character in War of the Dragons. Maybe. And now he's a special guest in this episode. So it's some sort of epic puppet crossover. Anyway, even though he's helping out people with his newly discovered magical gift, Bai Leon wonders if it's really the best thing that he's interfering with a world that's not his own. But Bai Leon guesses that one day the rift will close and he will be sent back to his own realm. Although, due to the discussion with Shang, he's saddened to discover that the swords will remain magical. And then Shang kind of does a dick move by showing him the sword index, and Bai Leon gets a little upset about how much destruction these swords will bring about. Although they do great good, they also bring great evil. So then, we jump over to our other time-traveling hero, Lang, who is at the height of despair as he's watching he and his team fight Master Locust. This one moment haunts him, and for the majority of the season, he wants it never to have happened. And now he has the chance to prevent it. But he just lets it play out and watches it happen. Although he's really struggling internally not to do something. So Azabelfer appears and starts tempting Ling, saying, "Hey, she's right there. You should do something. You can save her sight. Master Locust isn't expecting there to be two Langs during this fight. And even though it might throw the heroes off a bit, it will turn the tide against Master Locust. You might even defeat him." Although the words are starting to get to Lang, Ling Ya pipes up and says this is all kind of shady. Azabelfer really isn't a total asshole because he warns if Lang does go through with it and saves Ten Ming's sight, the butterfly effect will happen. He shows Lang a vision of an alternate future, one in which Shang has no reason to escape to Zayao. And Necrobitch still manages to summon the demon from the end of season 1. Without Shang around to stop it, it rampages and destroys Dong Li. So, save the sight of one person for the sake of an entire city. Even with that knowledge, Lang is fighting with himself on whether he should intervene or not. It seems that this episode has an underlying message of just accepting your mistakes, learning from them, and growing from them. Because Bai Leon thinks that Shang was sent there to stop him from completing the Sword Index, but Shang says that really isn't the case, even though a lot of chaos spawned from many wicked people trying to get the Sword Index. A lot of good has also come from it. Countless demons slayed. Countless lives saved. Just accept your role in history and better yourself through your actions. And while Shang is giving this dialogue, we cut back to Lang as he watches the events play out that lead to Ten Ming getting blinded. And not only the writing, the music in this season is amazing. Like the whole dramatic piano that plays during this scene. Oh, this is definitely that chef's kiss of music. I may have to look online for this season's soundtrack so I could get a few of these tracks because, oh, they're good. Bai Leon tells Shang that in the many journeys he's had, he always seems to find friends he can rely on, and with Shang, he's found another. He knows Shang is the best person to carry the Sword Index. So, Shang's time in the past expires, and he poofs away. Azabelfer tells Lang he's surprised that Lang isn't as selfish as he thought. I mean, was he expecting Lang to fuck up the timeline? But Azabelfer said he's not done with Lang. In his words, it's time to go to the distant beginning where their fates became intertwined. And then he poofs them into the past. So I'm really interested how this will play out with them, since I know what Azabelfer knows. Since I kind of got myself spoiled a little bit, things that may come out next week might not be that much of a shock to me. Even though she's a super powerful demon, Seven Blasphemous Deaths is also worried about the butterfly effect and what might happen if she is resurrected in the past. And Xinghai tells her her plan in the most hilarious scene, since he's supposedly under mind control of 7 blasphemous deaths, Lin is there massaging Zing Hai. So, she's not really seducing anybody. It's just a fan service moment. Because her robe is kind of low cut, and you do see some puppet boobs. Okay, Zing Hai's plan is to bring the corpse of Zhao Junlin into the present and resurrect her there. Because since her body was never recovered in the past, it wouldn't affect the timeline in any way. And if they can catch it soon enough after her mortal death, Zing Hai's necromancy will make resurrecting her easy. Although their plan still has one tiny bump in the road. So, Necrobitch sends off Lin to deal with Shang. So, back in the Void Junction, Huan meets up with Shang and tells him Zing Hai's plan could start at any moment. So, Shang decides to confront the Demon Sisters, but first, he gives the sword index to Huan for safekeeping. Huan goes to leave, but he runs into Lin and 7 blasphemous deaths. And then Huan gets stabbed. Very bloodily too. Oh my god! Is Huan dead? Is this Lin's plan? What is Lin's plan? I thought he was only pretending to be mind controlled. I mean, it would be a dick move that if he isn't mind controlled, he still stabbed Huan. And if he is honestly being mind controlled, what does that say about Lin, the master deceiver? He allowed himself to be tricked? I'm just waiting for next week. I hope you'll join me as I break down another episode of Thunderbolt Fantasy. If you like this review, pass it around, give it a comment, maybe consider subscribing to Reckless Amoeba Productions. But that's enough self-promotion for now. I'll catch everybody next week.